As we get started today, please mute your microphones. But if you do have questions, you're more than we want you to utilize the chat feature. Put your questions in there. We can pause, we can stop. This will be a very open conversation, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Before we introduce ourselves, I just have to give a shout out to Robin McLaughlin, who is the Director of Alumni and Student Engagement for Maricopa County. She is going to be handling the slide deck for us today, and she is a great asset to our alumni engagement team. So thank you, Robin. All right, so my name is Lacey Niemeyer-John, and I oversee alumni career and professional development. And I am joined by Lindsay Edmonds, who's the Assistant Director of Alumni Career and Professional Development. And we are really excited to talk about mentoring with you today. And as we go to the next slide, we're going to go over some of our objectives of what we want to accomplish. But ultimately, we want you to know that the Wildcat community is strong, and it's a great resource for you in your personal and professional lives. So today, what we want to do is discuss the benefits, and specifically the career benefits of mentoring and mentorship. Also, mentoring is a big word, and it's used a lot. How are we going to define mentoring here at the University of Arizona, specifically with our alumni community? And how do we find mentors? How do we find those people who are going to help us? So we have our personal board of directors that we're going to, we have a little activity and explore what that might look like for each one of you. And then we're going to talk about some mentorship opportunities that you have through our alumni programming that can help you navigate, manage your careers, and build that network that's going to help you get to the next step. So we'll go ahead, and I'm going to turn the time over to Lindsay to talk about mentoring and the benefits of mentorship.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to virtually see you all. Before we talk about what mentoring is and how we accomplish it, I want to talk a little bit more about why it's important. And the reason for this is that research has found that mentorship really benefits both mentors and mentees. What it does is levels the playing field and builds networks of relationships and links for individuals in a shared community, like a community of wildcats that are working in a common industry or have a shared interest. These links and networks can boost those who are underrepresented or may not traditionally have access to expanded networks or individuals. These benefits can be in your career directly. It turns out that mentees are 5 times more likely to be promoted, but only 37% of professionals have a mentor. And so we've built a lot of tools here where we are trying to help you better connect with mentors or mentees in your network. Mentees typically have higher career satisfaction and lower feelings of isolation and a greater sense of fit when paired with mentors. But mentees aren't the only ones benefiting. Mentors also receive personal satisfaction and a sense of contribution and accomplishment by giving back and sharing information about their career or industry, and can learn from their mentors by being exposed to fresh and new ideas or perspectives. Overall, employers and industries can increase employee retention and have increased organizational devotion by having mentorship programs available to those that work with them. So on the next slide, we will talk about what mentoring specifically is. So how we define mentoring is a series of time-limited, confidential, and focused conversations where an experienced individual helps another person develop their goals and skills. Mentors draw benefits from the mentoring relationship, like I said. Our goal is for this to be mutually beneficial for both mentors and mentees to do things like sharpen leadership skills, share wisdom and experiences, and evolve their own thinking. Mentor to mentee is typically the way that information can be disseminated in a mentoring relationship, but also reverse mentoring works where a younger employee can be paired with an executive or more experienced employee to help them on various topics of strategic and cultural relevance that they may not learn from with a peer. So when we think about the roles that mentors play, there are a lot of different roles. And so what I want to talk to you all about today is sharing some experiences of how mentors have been each of these things. So mentors can be coaches, they can be advisors or guiders, they can support and encourage, or be role models. So an example I can think of where a mentor really helped me was a career pivot to working in education. I was working in consumer packaged goods sales for a really long time and wasn't happy in my career. But my sales mentor I met during my time at the University of Arizona, and I leveraged my Wildcat Network to learn more about working in education. So I would love to learn more about how each of you have had an experience with someone coaching you, supporting or encouraging you, advising and guiding you, or being your role model, or where you've done that for someone else. If anyone wants to unmute and share, or Lacey, if you have a good example, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. So while you guys are thinking, I love this question. I'm sure as we think back on our journey through life, there's probably multiple people that come up and have played these different roles. Right? So I remember, in my athlete days, I had great coaches, and not just great coaches in my sport of swimming, but coaches in life. And there was a specific experience where it was my junior year of college, and I was really struggling with, the pressures of being an athlete and trying to achieve my goals, but also being a college student and getting in my degree program. And it was hard, and I felt like I would just stretch so thin. I really connected with someone who was actually my coach's wife. And, she didn't talk to me about swimming. We talked about how we could manage and focus and allow you to do is put a visual representation of the people in your life that fill these different roles. So again, as they're coaching you and advising you, and all the different roles that we just discussed, these are some of the specifics that you can find that might help you achieve your goals. So again, there's those people who are going to be the self-assessment area, right? These are probably people that are in our circle of trust, that they can say things to us that probably other people can't, right? According to our weaknesses or our strengths, and that we truly trust their opinion because we know that they have our best interests at heart and they want to see us succeed. So those people who might be in that self-assessment realm. Also the emotional support, right? We can think of our families, friends, or other people that are there for us, regardless of what's happening on the outside or on the peripheral, right? They're focused on us on the inside, and they know that we need that emotional support and to start inward before we can be successful outward. And I won't go through all of these, but you can think of like feedback sources and people who give us skill development, our sponsors, and those role models that we want to emulate, right? And when we look at this map, and you can click on it, and as I'm talking through, what I would like you to do is just think about, okay, who are these people immediately right now in my circle that fill some of these roles? And you maybe have people that are listed in multiple roles, right? But what I want you to really get from this exercise is that you're going to have multiple people in kind of your board of directors. There's not just one perfect mentor. There's multiple mentors in our lives. And whether we're looking at the more psychosocial or we're looking at career specific, there's many different people that might help us along our journey. Perfect. So continue to fill out that form or think about that form. And I want you to kind of narrow your focus in on the center. Because if you're having trouble finding, okay, who do I put in this category, or who would I go to if I really needed some like real honest feedback or that self-assessment, think back to what are your goals and what do I want to accomplish and where are my needs at this moment? What are my questions that I have about my career or about my life or my journey? many times we find mentees working in the Wildcat Mentor Society or with the Beardown Network, and they know they need help, they just don't know how to communicate it yet. And so knowing that that's sometimes hard to do, and it takes a little bit of introspection and some time to maybe think and sit with it ourselves, identifying those goals, needs, and questions, and truly being able to write it out and to communicate that in a way where I can identify, okay, these are my role models. And then the next step would be, how do I have a conversation with those role models or my emotional support base and let them know that they play that role for me, right? So when maybe you're going through a career shift, that's usually when I tap into my mentor and my cabinet of closest advisors, right? Is when I'm looking to make a big decision in my life and I need people's help and perspective, people that I trust. If I've already built that relationship and I've kind of managed that relationship where I've kept in contact, those people, they know that when I call them, they're going to answer, and they know that they play this specific role for me. Okay, I'm having a really hard time with this decision. You know me, you know my strengths. Where will I best succeed? Or where do you think I fit? And they know that they play that role because I've communicated that to them. So hopefully that helps. And this is something that we do throughout our lives, right? As we try to think about, okay, who do I need to reach out to? And it takes a little bit of courage to say, yes, I need help, or I need to build my network because I'm in a new industry or a new location or whatever that is. This is going to evolve. And that's okay. And it's okay to still be finding those people. And just so a shameless plug, we do have our Beardown Network, and we have our chapters and the clubs and our alumni organizations to help you fill some of these gaps that you might have. Right? Any questions with this form or any insights that you might have had while you were thinking about your kind of board of directors and the roles that people play in your life? If anyone wants to share. Lindsay, did you have anyone that kind of stood out to you as you were doing this exercise?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, my role models have always been managers and bosses, but my emotional support has always been my peers, someone who had a shared experience. And so I think it's important to recognize the value even in your career of each specific person. Someone who provides emotional support may be very different from someone who provides constructive feedback in a way that you can learn and grow from, and they could both be your peers or both be your managers. And so just know that at all levels, you can look for these different sources of support, and they're all based on your goals and needs at the time.
Stephen, I saw you unmute yourself. Did you have a comment or like to build on Lindsay's comment?
I think we just given voice to Lindsay there, that the categories you have there, I think really speak to the breadth of what someone who's trying to really advance themselves in their studies or their career, that there's all these different important aspects or parts of self and of the function that they provide to give guidance or to develop that self-confidence that you're making good decisions. You're looking at, how can I assess and then get the feedback, my own, values and strengths, being able to have people that you can talk with to develop some of those skills that maybe it's actually not a weakness, but maybe it could be strengthened, maybe it could be enhanced. And so there's people that you could interact with or have some ongoing mentorship that would really focus on those skills. I mean, to the point that you said there's probably many mentors that you could draw from. Some may not exactly be formal mentors, but in a way following that support network. And but this is a really nice list of functions and areas of support that someone both utilizing the mentorship network could use, but also just in that inner process of how do I really become, the professional I want to be? What is going to move me in the direction of my important goals? So I really like it. I think that's, what was it, come from the International Women's Association? It's really nice.
Yeah, I have to give credit to them. I did not create it myself, but you're right. It is a great visual of how we put together and list out all those people that can support us and maybe help identify gaps in our support group, right? And where we might need to do more outreach or just be more observant of people who might be able to help us in these areas. So the next slide, and continue working on that worksheet if you'd like, but really looking at, okay, well, what is the right mentorship for me? And with the Wildcat Mentor Society, we have a very structured program, and Lindsay's going to talk about that later. But knowing what kind of style you need and where you are in your career will help you identify how you engage with these people in your board of directors. So there's a couple different mentoring styles out there. One is more developmental, and to Stephen's point, where sometimes it might happen organically, and you might have a relationship first, and maybe Catherine had a great example of this too, where you were just friends and you had no idea that you were making an impact or what future impact you might have on that person. But it started with a relationship, and then because you had that trust, you went to that person because you needed help with a certain skill set, or you wanted to grow in a certain area, and that relationship kind of fostered and provided the pathway to whatever that personal growth was. And then the second type of mentoring style is more of our instrumental, and this is definitely more structured. And this might be something where in your company or maybe in an educational program, you have a goal and you're paired with someone to help you achieve that goal. And it's very structured format. And then as you work towards that goal, you build the relationship through your interactions. And when we look at our alumni programming, you can think of the developmental model as, how do we make connections on the Beardown Network, right? There's less structure. You have more of a more ownership of who you connect with, how often you connect, what that relationship looks like. And then think of instrumental as more of a structured program like our Wildcat Mentor Society. And that's a perfect example of someone who applies to be a part of the program, and based on the needs and goals of those individuals, we pair them together through an 8-month experience. And understanding that depending on the time of or point you are in your life, you might move from more of a developmental model to an instrumental model, or you might have both at the same time. So just understanding what those might look like is important, and what we wanted to leave you with this slide. So as we go to the next one, you all are part of the Wildcat community, right? We have over 300,000 Wildcats worldwide. Over 10,000 of them, well, almost 10,000 of them are on the Beardown Network. Last time I checked this morning, we are 20 people short from 10,000. So I know everyone has a friend. So on this call, go and invite your friend to join the Beardown Network and to be a part of our online community. And when you're a part of that community, what's amazing is that 80% of people are willing to give back and they want to help. I hear this all the time, especially with our colleagues who might have different degrees or degrees from different colleges, they mention how amazing it is to have alumni that want to give back, and so many that want to give back, and not just, you know, a conversation or speak at an event, but truly get to know other people and help them develop and achieve their goals. That's truly a gift that we have here in our Wildcat community, and we want to provide pathways for you to tap into it. So I'm going to let Lindsay talk more about all these different opportunities that we have to connect with Wildcats in different ways.
Thanks so much, Lacey. So like we've been talking about throughout this presentation, we have both structured and unstructured options for mentoring to make mentoring accessible to all of you where you're at. And so our tier 1 opportunities have low administrative oversight and commitment. We track these things based on the number of interactions, and basically it's an ask and answer function based conversation on predetermined topics. So this is kind of our lower stakes option. A lot of you have hopefully been utilizing Beardown Network, and we'll bring in your friends to do the same to expand that Wildcat Mentor Network on Beardown Network. Tier 2 is really making connections and actively leveraging that platform to work for you and build that community beyond passively engaging. That is something you can self-select. So when you are making your profile, you will opt into mentoring Wildcats or being a Wildcat mentee. Force match is possible, but we're not using that at this time. Mentors are identified with a blue ribbon. So if you are looking for a mentor or looking to be a mentor, know that this is something that is visible on your profile picture, and it should be easy for Wildcats to identify that you are open to mentors. And then Wildcat Mentor Society is our highest touch option. It's a structured 8-month program that runs from October to April. And we have applications for both mentors and mentees because we really do our best to try to create small cohorts, one mentor and a handful of mentees that share an interest. So you'll be building your relationship together as well as working towards common goals through 1-hour monthly meetings for this 8-month commitment. We also have professional development opportunities and chances to help you meet other mentors throughout the program if you are choosing to be a mentor, or options to meet other mentees outside of your cohort in these larger scale events. This program is going to be fully virtual, so no matter where you're at, this is an accessible option for you if you're interested in mentoring or being a mentee. On the next slide, I want to talk a little bit more about Beardown Network. So with Beardown Network, you can kind of decide if you want to actively or passively use it. But when you're actively using it, there are a few different ways to use this tool. The first that you can do is just send a message to a mentor of interest. So you can look for that blue ribbon and you can draft your own outreach like a standard message or email, but you'll be able to identify them really easily on Beardown Network. Or you can request to do help in a specific area. So if you look at this drop-down menu, there are specific categories that you can ask for help for, so you don't need to worry about drafting that part of the message. You can ask for things like professional advice, industry-specific questions, or for introductions and connections. Sometimes it's hard to think of how to creatively make a draft message to ask someone to connect you to others in their network, right? Sometimes that feels like a hard ask to make, but with a tool like the Beardown Network, it's built in for you. This person has expressed an interest in mentoring already, so that kind of makes it a warm ask. And then you can specifically ask for what you're looking for, so that when they open the message, you don't have to have a lot of small talk surrounding that. You can just ask for what you're looking for, and they can let you know if that's something that they're willing to help you out with. Once you've made connections, you can manage your mentoring relationships on Beardown Network as well. So once you've made that connection with a mentor or mentee, a few more tools become available to you that make managing that relationship easier. The first is video chat. So right in Beardown Network, if you want to hop on a virtual call with your mentor or mentee, that's built into the platform for you. You can also do things like schedule meetings and direct message. So you can schedule a longer video chat, schedule out for the future, or have those quick conversations all via Beardown Network. When we think about our high touch structured program, That is Wildcat Mentor Society. It really is our goal to connect experienced alumni with recent and future Wildcats to build mutually beneficial relationships over that set period of time. So like I said before, this is an 8-month period where mentors and mentees will be able to set and meet their own professional goals. It really is our goal for these to be mutually beneficial so that mentors and mentees learn from each other. There's some of that reverse mentoring going on. We've seen that this program increases affinity to the university and builds long-lasting connections among the Wildcat community. So far, we have engaged over 390 Wildcats in the program, and it's our goal to grow that each year. And you can be a part of helping us grow that by being a mentor or mentee. So there's a link on the side of this slide, and it's just wms.arizona.edu. We try to make it really easy to remember, where you can learn more about applying to be a mentor or a mentee in a highly structured program. And Robin just dropped that in the chat as well. If you'd like to learn more, you can always reach out to me. I'll drop my email in the chat once Lacey takes back over out, so you can reach out and ask me some questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Lindsay. So again, Lindsay is directly overseeing that Wildcat Mentor Society program, and there's so many different opportunities for you to connect with Wildcats and build out what these relationships will look like for you. And how can you fill your board of directors, whether you're in the job search process or maybe you're just preparing right now, because you never know when you might need to fall back on someone for one of those support areas. So what we wanted to do here is to put down a list of qualities of a good mentor and a good mentee, just to make us sure that we're ready for mentoring. So many times, mentoring can be very beneficial, but when it's not managed correctly or people aren't prepared for that mentoring relationship, that's when we see dysfunction happen and people don't have the greatest experience. So we want to help you be prepared for those opportunities and to have the best experience possible. So when you look at these slides, right, what makes a good mentee? We have some lists here, but one is, are you open to learning, right? So knowing that when you're in that mentoring relationship, you're going to get feedback and you're hopefully looking to grow. And maybe that feedback is constructive and you might need to make some changes. And those conversations can be hard sometimes. But going in with an open mind and knowing that the mentor is there to help you grow might help you in that process and learn more efficiently. Also engaging openly, right? Sometimes when we're in a mentoring relationship, building trust is hard. And we need to oftentimes give and take a little bit every time so that we build that trust little by little. And so engaging openly, being very honest with, these are my goals, that activity didn't really work for me. Can we try another one, right? Being very open with what's happening and how you're understanding what the mentor is trying to help you with, or the whole process in general. Number 3 is a hard one, and we see this a lot through the mentoring programs that we oversee. It's taking responsibility for the development. So mentees struggle with the concept of leading from the bottom. They have this idea that they're going to come and most of the time just listen to their mentor. That's not how we learn the best. It's really taking our goals, remember, looking at ourselves in the center of that board of directors and saying, okay, what are my needs? What are my questions? What are the things that I want to learn and to grow? And communicating that and driving the conversation to meet those needs or those questions. And taking responsibility for your own development. And you can think back to that chart, there's an accountability section there. And what that accountability looks like can work between you and your mentor. So you can go through and say, okay, this is our communication plan, or these are my goals and the timeline that I want to achieve them at. But ultimately, it's you as the mentee that has to take ownership of that development. So that rolls right into my next point here is giving the guides for the content and the topics. What do you want to learn about? How can the mentor help you? And being very open and upfront of what you need and communicating that efficiently is just going to help the experience move along for both you and the mentor. Giving feedback. Again, being open and knowing that both parties want to have a good experience. And so, giving honest feedback, respectful feedback of what's working and what might not be working. And if it's not working, what solutions can you bring to the table? Okay. And then as you look over to the mentor, a lot of the things are the same, right? You need to be open to learning. Lindsay mentioned the reverse mentoring and how that's becoming more and more popular in the business sector, but also I think in those informal mentoring relationships as well. Active listening. This is so crucial for mentors to know how to listen, not to respond, but listen to understand. And know that you don't always have to have all the answers. Sometimes it's just being that listening ear and having empathy for your mentee is one of the best roles that you can play. Moderating and redirecting the conversation. I know that I have had mentoring conversations with people that I've worked with, and they've had a bad day and they have that fixed mindset. And I'm sure a lot of us can think about what these conversations would look like, whether it's with school or work or family, friends, relationships. But how can you redirect it? And as a mentor, seeing the positive and seeing the growth opportunity within some of these obstacles. Following up with that, what is the feedback or maybe those thought-provoking questions or maybe presenting topics or content that can help your mentee think about that next step in a different way? And then just like with the mentees, what feedback can you give and what constructive elements and points can you make to that conversation? So these are just some things to think about. And as you prepare for a mentoring relationship, know that these are necessary to make it a positive experience for the mentee as well as the mentor. So we can go ahead and, so the next slide here, this is one of our last slides today, but I wanted to point out some start, stop, and continue. One, stop waiting for mentorships just to happen to you. Yes, they can happen organically, but they evolve organically because you're invested in a relationship, right? You've invested in helping and building a connection with someone. And from that connection, that mentorship might evolve and might blossom. But we can't sit back and disengage and just wait for it to happen, right? Take that active role in your questions, in your needs, in your growth path. And then start seeking out mentors, right? Wildcats want to help Wildcats, and the majority of people want to help you. So be sure to keep an eye out for people that you might meet on webinars or at events that might have some interests or some skill sets that you want to acquire or that might be really great for you in your career. So seek them out. And then the last piece, continue to accept invitations to mentor, right? Build up those people that might be around you. And as they are looking for help, give back and pay it forward because you've probably been impacted and helped by others as well. So any questions or thoughts before we move into raffle time? Oh man. Great. Well, if you do, make sure you drop them into the chat. And Robin, let's put up that raffle wheel of names and let's give away some prizes to these awesome Wildcats. Perfect. And as we spin the wheel, if your name comes up, Charlene, woohoo! You're going to get some free swag from us. So we're going to contact you with to get your information and hopefully give away some more free stuff throughout the weekend. So be sure to sign up for other events in our Beardown block party. We hope that this event was helpful. And the next slide, in which we can send these slides out to you, are some of the research that's been done on mentoring if you want to find out more for yourself. And also, we just want to give our email addresses to you, where if you have questions or want to learn more about our programs, please reach out, let us know how we can help. So thank you, Beardown, and we'll see you at the next Beardown Block Party event.